Welcome to Called Voices in STEM, the podcast that highlights the experiences, challenges, and career stories of women in STEM. Join us as we explore the stories of these inspiring women and learn more about the diverse contributions they are making to the world of science. Here is your host, Dr. Chloe Lim.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chloe Lim, and you're listening to Called Voices in STEM, a podcast that highlights the experience, challenges, and career stories of culturally and linguistically diverse women in STEM. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land throughout Australia and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge the deep contribution that they make to the life of our city and our region. In this episode of the Called Voices in STEM podcast, I'm very excited and honored to have Dr. Ruwangi Fernando with me today as our podcast guest. Dr. Ruwangi is an accomplished information technology expert and AI specialist with a strong academic and consulting background. As a champion for women of color in STEM, she advocates for intersectional diversity and inclusion in the Australian STEM sector. Dr. Fernando founded STEM Sisters and co-founded iSTEM Co., both organizations aimed at empowering women of color and promoting their employment in STEM fields. Her dedication to fostering diversity, inclusion, and intersectionality in STEM has earned her numerous accolades and made a significant impact. Thank you so much, Ruwangi, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And I know the impact of the work that you've done so far, and I know that you're going to keep going with a lot of the work that you're going to be doing as well. That's going to really empower a lot of women in STEM, especially women of color. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Jolie. Thank you for the introduction. And also thank you so much for welcoming me for this podcast. It's lovely. I think we have been friends for some time, and it would be great to kind of contribute for something that you are passionate to.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, can you share a little bit more about your background and how you became interested in STEM?
Yeah, so I'm from Sri Lanka. So my father was an engineer. So he was a very hands-on engineer. I should say he was an electrical engineer. But our household was filled with stuff. And myself, my sister, and my mom, initially, actually, it was really a trouble for us because, we love to have a clean, nice house. But, my father used to have so many gadgets, and he had a bit of health issues. So he required help sometimes when he worked on these things. So we really didn't want to help around. It has been our mother who has been always into. I necessarily didn't do much passion from him though, but I think his curious mind is something that I enjoyed how he thinking. But apart from that, I think it was the era when I was schooling, the computer science kind of really got involved and growth. So my father, the experimental person, when I was doing my ordinary levels examination, he brought a computer. So it was a P1, P2, he loves experimenting. That's the reason he got it even. He loves those kind of things. So he brought that, and then we kind of, got into it and then started experimenting with it. I think that was and I loved doing that. It was neither part of our school curriculum or nothing as such, it was but, he gave that privilege to us at that time. And then I kind of, after finishing my A-levels, I just kind of took that path onwards. And I did my maths but I didn't know, even I wanted to become an engineer or not, but I didn't like bio. So I kind of took to the other side of things, and it just happened. I think my life journey, it is all about the way it moves and, me moving forward with it, kind of. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. So you did your master's, and then what did you do after that?
Yeah, so then I kind of got into computer science at the university. So I did that, and I loved it. I loved programming. So then I, very early in my career, I loved teaching. I think I had that passion. I've been involved in different other teachings as well. So I loved being with people and sharing my knowledge. That's something generally I had that kind of passion and interest. So I think in my first year as an undergraduate, I got some opportunities to teach in the sense is in a diploma level kind of, because, this all new curriculum and computing was so new. So, a lot of people who had like even basic skills got those opportunities at that time. So I kind of got it. So during my whole degree, I was teaching part-time. That really gave me a sense of belonging and I enjoyed doing that. So I've been in academia again and I got some opportunities to really work in the industry, but my father really didn't encourage that long hours, and then we live little far. So therefore, I necessarily didn't dislike being in academia. So therefore, I kind of continue that pathway. And then I gradually did the master's. Actually, it was an offer from the university that I worked at in Sri Lanka. So they kind of gave me a scholarship to do it. And then I did another one, like, teaching. And then, like, my life was around all of this. So, and then after some times and the way how academia works in countries like Sri Lanka, there is a lot of managerial duties that comes along with it. So I kind of went up in the career ladder in that aspect. But then I thought I need to kind of to get in, like, and I was kind of going away from the programming and then, like, taking more responsibility in management. I taking lots of other responsibility in university settings. And then I felt like, I've missed out in technology a lot. And I thought, I should do a PhD to kind of gain all of that back. And then I thought, okay, I'll come to Australia. My sister was living here. So I thought it would be the right place to go to, be with my family as well. So that was a move that I made. And, I chose AI because there had been a lot changed, improved.
Yes.
And then got myself there. And then STEM Sisters happened very organically. I'm very passionate about the topic. Like, and I did my part even back home when I was teaching. I made sure that I give equal opportunities for the boys and the girls in when I'm teaching. I encourage girls to take those I did my part, but Sri Lanka being like a third world developing country, there is less opportunities. But when I came here, I expected things to be different. And because there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of support from the government, but I couldn't see the support going to the right places or support being distributed equally. And I felt, PhD is 4 years and I didn't feel like I need that time for my PhD either. So I felt I need to be finding something, and this is something very grown organically. It's nothing that I wanted to develop a company or a non-profit. It never came in that thought. I just wanted to do something about it and how to contribute. And throughout the years, as I kind of progressed with my PhD, it got its potential and it made me to the career that I am in now. Yeah.
Yeah. So how, I'm very curious. So you've had your PhD, and how did what was it? You said that you feel that the boys and girls need to have that equal opportunity, but you feel like you couldn't see that. What was it that really struck you that feel like that you need to change?
Yeah. So in Australia, for that matter, when I came in, I saw I was doing AI, it's AI, all of my colleagues, my supervisors, all of them are from the AI background. We have a lab who have all of that. So there were some seniors who just finished or just about to finish. Some of these girls was finding hard, not everyone who have done a PhD can find employment in academia, and it shouldn't be also, right? So these are really practical projects. And then there should be industry searching, industry, so much of demand for these girls to be employed, and they couldn't find work. And it really struck me why. That was the first question, because of course, there are different personalities, some who are very confident, some who are not. I do understand, but still having a PhD and worked in, that capacity, who is a very practical in AI, which is highly in demand, you can't find work. And their discussion was whether we should hide our PhD in order to get into employment. Yeah, this really conversation struck me, and I loved networking. So I went about going to a lot of industry events in IT and many meetups. I could see whoever is struggling to find work is called women, mainly women of color. And they're coming up for these opportunities because they wanted to mingle and see whether it works out. So I could, at the same time, I was seeing a lot of buzz and discussion around women in STEM. And Australia, the unique circumstances is any point of time, even, those 70 in 2017, even now, there are so many STEM opportunities. Right? So many STEM opportunities for women. At the same time, there are so many women unemployed and underemployed. It's demand and supply both being there, right? And why the system is failing. If there is no demand, having excess supply, that's a different case. Here you have demand. We need more. Actually, if we have fully occupied the women that we have and we need more, that's a different conversation to have, right? But here there is opportunities and there is women, very talented women, and their excuses are lame. You have overseas qualification, you have overseas experience, you necessarily doesn't look like one of us as existing one of us. Those are just lame excuses. Even you're having foreign qualification or experience, physics is physics everywhere. The gravity is same I know.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I couldn't understand why, these, all of these metrics that we use are the same things where we have done those. These are just very lame excuses, and in that's a bias. Of course, we all do have biasness, but I think it's and the other particularly thing, there were women who are confident, but I could also see there was lacking confidence of having that belief that I can do this, because a lot of women who had STEM skills were occupied in other roles, doing irrelevant things, completely irrelevant things in the society. And maybe they're happy, but I really think they're not happy in a way, because they had a lot of potential to be what they have studied and really put that into practice. And that really, really stuck me. Why and how can I help? That was my question. Because I use this concept all the time. Of course, all women face a glass ceiling. There is no question about it. But when you are a woman of color, or you have in any sort of an intersectional, you have an additional baggage to carry rather than being a woman. It can be a disability or anything for that matter. The baggage, if you have 3, then your baggage is more, but you have at least another 1 baggage to carry. What you face is a concrete ceiling or a bamboo ceiling. So you cannot use the same tool as you use to break a glass, to break a concrete. The tool has to be different. Australia wasn't invested in that. They only thought all women are same women and we just need to give a tool to break the glass ceiling. But we had a concrete ceiling and the tool didn't work for us. So that was a particular gap that I saw. So that's why I started STEM Sisters, and it was particular. Like, there were a lot of comments at that time why we are trying to make a niche or a separate group. I'm not trying to make things separate. It's already existing. I'm just trying to give target support for those women. Right? I wish I can solve every problem in this world. I wish, and to make this the world that we all love to be in. But if you want to focus and really make things happen, you have to focus and take a niche area where you really feel passionate and then want to solve the problem. So I took that upon myself and I tried doing the best that I can.
Oh no, that's fantastic. I think it's so important, the sort of challenges that you've brought up about what culturally diverse women or women of color face, because like you said, we've got a double barrier to our career progression. It's not just a glass ceiling, but we also have a concrete or bamboo ceiling. And I love what you say about using different tools to be able to break those ceilings. So I'm curious, what are the tools that you have used to support these women to try and break those ceilings?
Yeah. So I just thought, of course, I'm a woman of color, but still, as I said, we are very different individuals. Like, I cannot develop solutions that only cater kind of my personality as a woman of color. There are, we all individualize, but we have common problems. So that's why STEM Sisters, we don't just do one thing. Right? We just don't offer a mentoring program. We don't just do a magazine. We don't just do ambassador program, like different events, like everything that we do, we try to give that sense of belonging, sense of encouragement, sense of that you can be who you are and you can be the woman that you wanted to become. That message has been extracted by individuals in so many different ways. So we give that in so many different ways. Right? So that everyone will find their own peace to, to feel comfortable, feel belonged, feel confident. So that's why we have the variety of things. So we have, as I mentioned, we have a mentoring program We in the mentoring program, again, we have categorized that for current students, to recent graduates, to early career STEM professionals. That's one thing. Then we have an ambassador program. Again, that's more targeted at young women, like, early career and then recently graduate students type of early women, so that we just bring them in, put them through some workshops, let them meet a lot of other senior women of color in STEM, share their, profile them up. That's what is needed. We don't, in any of the STEM sisters, any initiative, we don't give them STEM skills. They do have them. We are not going there, teaching physics or AI or anything, because they are having those. They can learn. There are existing establishments if they want to upgrade them, learn them further. We are only targeting on particular challenges that they face. And then we have a magazine because, again, 56% of Australian university qualified STEM women in Australia are born overseas. Right? So we kind of a very large proportion. These statistics for the first time came out in 2020. Until that, it was never looked at. It was just STEM women. Who are these STEM women was never questioned. So this was the very first report that came out in 2020, July. And that says 56%. And we face, and these are the women who are born overseas, face more than four times higher unemployment compared to women born in Australia. So, of course, these statistics should go even further, but you can see a significant problem. Right. And when you compare this unemployment for, 10 years, 20 years before, the gap wasn't that serious. So we have been doing something wrong in order to get to this place. Right. So women of color who have having that concrete ceiling and no tool being provided to crack this concrete ceiling was being the difficulty. So in order to address that, so even we have this larger portion in our community. If you look into the media, is very less media opportunities is given for women of color. I can see there is a progress now, but it's still like if it's 56% is overseas born, you don't have that percentage represented. So we thought that we in STEM Sisters, of course, at the bottom line, what we address is racism. It's the biasness that we address. But we don't do it in holding placards or saying we need the place. We do it in taking action, progressive movement forward, right? That's what we do. We don't talk about the blaming, pointing fingers. That's not what we do. We say how we can move forward, how we can really make action in order to go forward, take the next step. How do we correct things? And support the system to be corrected, that sort of a thing. So we thought, doesn't matter, we'll start something of our own. So the magazine is for that purpose. You've been featured as well. So you know the drill, because the volunteers we use to write the articles, some of them times they find inspiration, doing an interview. That's how they find inspiration. At the same time, your story being shared by many who have, likewise, we do the magazine every 3 months. And in one magazine, we share nearly 19 stories of women in different stage women, very high mother, or what women face, someone who have just finished, some of being a volunteer, being an ambassador, different stories, because we just want to show spotlight on them. Right? Because they have done quite a lot. They have done a lot of hard work. They have studied, they have achieved, but society is not noticing them. So that worries us. So in order to get to their potential, they need to be noticed. So that's what we do from the magazine. And then we have something called a LinkedIn group, which we call Awareness of Opportunities. It's again, women of color doesn't know a lot of opportunity, a lot of scholarships, a lot of grants. They have never heard about these opportunities. So we use this platform because, LinkedIn is among all of the other social media, which is used for professional purposes. So we use this group in order to share those opportunities. So we get to know something, we share. So every member in the group would get to know. So we have 1,000 plus members over there. That's another way. And also it gives access to, if they want to speak to a particular person, they can message some of the members and things like that. Apart from that, we have something called as the BU program. It's more about, again, For me personally, I don't associate how I look externally as confidence, for me, internal confidence. But there are women who do that. They feel not so great about themselves. Like there are days that I do have that too, but in general, I'm not, But for some, it's a challenge. Some people, when they want to fit into a Western world country, they try to change themselves. They change too much that their identity is gone with it. They change their name, to change their hair color, to change the way they speak to. They do it in good intention, but it's not the kind of the right thing to lose yourself, right? Because acting can be done only for a shorter time, and it drains you. You cannot act forever.
Yes.
So we encourage women. Of course, adjustment is needed. There is no question about it. You move to a new country. Of course, things to be changed. That's part of it, and that change should be wonderful. Change should be something that you bring your culture, your identity, and you merge it with something new, and you find your place,
Yes.
So we encourage that to do that. So that's the BU program that we do. It's, again, none of what we do is not necessarily STEM. It's nothing to do with teaching science or teaching mathematics, but it's what our society needs in order to find that confidence and giving that push in so many different ways. Again, I said, it's very important that not all women of color are same women of color. We're all different. So we find our inspiration, find our a way of breaking this bias or breaking these barriers is so many different ways. So we try to promote that and give that opportunity for our community. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think I love that you're talking about really empowering women really to not only just be themselves, but to also skill up in the soft skills. It sounds like it's more like a soft skill type of thing where they could make themselves stand out a bit more in their own skin as well and be comfortable in their own skin too. I think it's great that we've got these programs to help women to sort of take that responsibility upon themselves to take action so that they can improve themselves. But I'm curious about, what do you think needs to change in the STEM industry itself so that we can create more opportunities for culturally diverse women?
Yeah. So with the industry, my other organization that I work with, Dr. Molly, iSTEM, which is targeted at, employing women into STEM, finding employment and making sure that we don't have placed women in underemployment or things like that. In that particular mission, we can see, again, there are a lot of gatekeepers in the industry. That's the problem. Sometimes actual direct hiring managers are keen to have women, right? But then it goes through in an organization, there is different layers of processes, and these processes are the ones who is closing doors. That's what we have identified. The other aspect of it is that because now it's a government requirement to have these percentages right in the workforce, it has just become a tick box of diversity and not necessarily a proper inclusion and a belonging. I'm not saying that, don't get me wrong in this point. Sometimes we have seen they're trying to make these efforts in terms of inclusion and belonging, but I'm not too sure whether they're getting the right advice, because sometimes the life experience of going through these struggles says a lot. Not that someone else cannot understand that. They need to consult the right people in order to make sure that they place the proper, whatever they're implementing. Sometimes, like earlier, as I said, there was a huge gap. As an industry, as a government, they were thinking about all STEM women in the same manner. It's wrong. We're different, right? We all are individually different, but there are groups representing different requirements. Similar. Now the industry is trying to make the workplace comfortable for women, but not all women are same women, right? Well, then again, there is a bunch of women of color or CALD women. How do you make? So in order to get they need to get the right advice, make that changes happen, misleading setting up so that we see disparity. So when they're hiring these D&I consultants, it's better to find people with lived experience or who really understands that problem. I'm not saying others cannot understand it, but it's quite different in terms of, if they're targeting on particularly groups, someone with a disability would say exactly how it feels. Someone with a women of color experience would say, someone with an LGBTQ experience would say what that is to them. So I think that sort of attention to detail is important. You cannot give one solution to fix all the problems. They may
Yes.
consider this as like one problem. It's not one problem. It's a very individualized problem. But even in that individualized problem, they can make some separations based on certain factors those groups belong to and try to address them in that manner. So inclusion is the problem at the moment. But what we say is, and the other aspect of this is this diversity. Some companies, not the real people, they understand the value of diversity, how important it is. But some think this is kind of the right thing to do, just the right thing to do. Right? Or we need to have women. I have found some, like even this era, some men have they have said, I just want to understand, some people don't ask this question because they don't want to feel like a bad person. But their question is, why we need to have this gender equality? If someone is I've got this question up to very recent as well. I thank them for asking this question, because then I say, your product or service is consumed by 50% of the world women. You're not including them in your product or a service solution. You're not catering for that market. This is the biggest problem. Right? So diversity for an organization is not just the right thing to do. It's not a charity case. We need to have half women. This has to be very clearly given as a message.
Yes.
This is your profit. This is your competitive advantage. No organization in the current market have an opportunity to go back on the second cycle and reinvent their product or service. They have to get it right at the first go. Right? It's that competition is what you have at the market at the moment. So you shouldn't be making product or service for the 50% of the world population.
Yeah.
You cannot forget, that's why the biggest problems are, we have faced these circumstances from long time, The typical problem of a seat belt not necessarily fitting women is still an engineering issue, So, but I think in the future, it's in high demand because of competition. There is, so we really have to get this right. So that's what we have to say. This is not you are doing just because you are trying to be a good organization. This is your, giving women 50% opportunities. But in order to give, you have to see this as innovation. If you want to be in an innovative organization, you need to have your population represented. So Australia is a very diverse country. So if you haven't met that in your places of your decision is being made, that means you're not targeting whole Australia for your product or service. So don't complain. We only have white women. You're only offering for white women in Australia. Right? So if you have represented by everyone who you can reflect, if you have culturally diverse people coming from different cultures, all of that, your society, whatever your product you wanted to reach to that society, if you are representing that in your organization, in the place you're making decisions about a product of the service, how the innovation will be driven towards that, right? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think you've hit a great point there. It's looking in Australia, it is a multicultural country. There's so many different races that are represented here. We've got, like you said, even at universities, more than half are women. And then we've got who are born overseas. More than half are born overseas. And I think it's definitely good practice. Good practice and good to include everyone in decision making. And I think one of the key challenges, it's, sometimes people may not, like you say, representation is so important. And if people do not see people that look like them in positions of leadership or positions where decisions are being made, then they may not think that it is possible for them. So what would you be like a key advice that you would give to other culturally diverse women who wants to pursue a career in STEM and who really wants to do well and climb up that leadership ladder?
Yeah. So for me, the best advice is anyhow STEM, is being a male dominant industry. So you need to have your a safe place, right? So surround by yourself some women who understands you, the struggle that you go through. That's kind of the key advice. Your passion for STEM is what it will take you in your career, right? You want to make a contribution with your passion in STEM, so that's you have to have within yourself to push that through. But having that support of a community who understands you, find like some other women who really understands your struggle, and having that close group of friendship is very important to pursue in this pathway, because there'll be a lot of pitfalls here, there'll be a lot of setbacks. That's kind of guaranteed. Knowing that it's not just happening to you, it's not nice to see that things happen for others. But knowing that it's a common thing gives you some sort of course, we work towards in terms of changing that. But it's not something happening tomorrow, right? So we have to endure the pain and move forward, right? But in that journey of facing that struggle, knowing that is just not me, because sometimes like when you get into that rock bottom, one of the questions that a lot of us ask is, why me? Why me? You know? And that really sets you off, right? And then it let them stop the journey. So just think that this is something that shouldn't be the case, but as women, what we have to go through, especially women of color. So as we fix and make sure you make a progressive improvement in changing the system and the changing the surroundings and the system, so that in the next generation, it wouldn't be this experience for them. It would be a little better for them. You have to make that change happen. But at the same time, for your career path, for your journey, find a good group that you can rely on, talk to, find belong. Like, it's common, it's there in the society. It's something that we have to go through. Is a kind of make things a little easy.
Yeah, I know it's quite challenging, isn't it? I think a lot of the times people think that they are alone in their situation, but really there's actually other people who will be facing similar issues, similar challenges, and they are really not alone in their predicament. But having that safe place, like you say, in that they can share their challenges and hopefully find support and encouragement through that is very, very important in helping them to keep moving forward and not give up on their dream to work in STEM. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ruwangi, for sharing your stories and insights with us today. We've heard about how we need to have different tools to break the different ceilings that we face, be it glass and then followed by bamboo or concrete ceiling. And thanks for sharing about the different initiatives that you have taken to try and change the industry and also to help empower women on an individual level as well. So Ruwangi, maybe you can tell us how people can connect with you or support your work and how they can reach out to you if you like.
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on LinkedIn. That would be one of the best places to find me directly. If you wish to kind of be part of STEM Sisters or support STEM Sisters, you can find us online. We have our social media channels. Our LinkedIn would be the most effective, but then with our websites, you can reach me out through emails. There are a lot of links out there. So even for iSTEM, if you are a STEM industry representative, if you are searching for women with STEM talent and you can't find them, come to us. We will be able to source talent for you. So of course, you definitely can find me online. So reach out. Yes, that would be the best way to find me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And so we'll put all this information in the show notes as well so that the listeners can check out those links if they're interested. So thanks again, Ruwangi, for your time. I really appreciate it. And there's so much good gems that you've shared today about the industry and how we can be supporting each other as well. So thanks again for sharing today.
Thanks, Jolie. That was great to kind of inviting me. And thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you one day in person. But until that, lovely catching up with you.
Yeah, thank you. So we've reached the end of our show. So thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others or leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about the things we've covered today in the show or would like to follow my projects as well, please find me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Called Voices in STEM podcast. Get the show notes, links and resources from today's episode by visiting drchloelim.com.